All right, today we're going to continue learning how to factor quadratics. So remember, vertex form looks like this. Remember where H and K represent the vertex point. And standard form for a quadratic looks like this. You have your x squared term, then your x term, and then your constant term. Now we are going to factor a quadratic function when it is in standard form. Okay, so we're going to look at example 1. Notice that this quadratic is in standard form. So the very first thing you want to do here is you want to this is the b value. The b value, that's this coefficient on the x, that's the number on the x. That number is going to be at the bottom of this x. This x is going to help you factor. So you're going to want to draw an x, put the b value down here. And then, as long as the a value is 1, then you can just move this constant. It's a positive 12. Positive 12 moves up on top. Okay, so when a is equal to 1, the b value goes down here on the bottom of the x, and the c value, the constant, goes on top. Watch the sign. If this was a minus, then this would be negative 12. Okay, so what you're going to want to do now is you're going to try to figure out two numbers that multiply to give you 12 and add to give you 7. So our two numbers are going to be, what do you think? Good, 4 and 3. They multiply to give you the top number, and they add to give you the bottom number. Now the sign of the numbers are very important, so be careful. The next thing you're going to want to do is draw a fraction line on top of each. And the a value, in this case, is 1. That's going to go on top. Some teachers teach it the other way around. I prefer it like this. All right, we're ready to write our factors. So our first factor is going to be 1x plus 4. And then our second factor is going to be 1x plus 3. So keep this in mind that these fractions, if they can be reduced, you should reduce them before writing the factors. But since we can't reduce 1/4, we can write the factor. 1/3, we write the factor. Okay, let's look at another example. So again, we put the b value down below, the a value on top. Now notice the a value is 1. That is very important. Okay, so now we're going to figure out what the two numbers are going to be. So now that we have a negative involved, it gets to be a little trickier. Okay, so you're going to do some combinations. Use your calculator if you need to. But if I take 4 times negative 1, I'll get negative 4. And if I add 4 and negative 1, I get 3. All right, so now we're going to put our a value on top. Neither one can be reduced, so now we're ready to write our factors. So this one's going to be, that's right, the x goes with the top number, so 1x plus 4. And the second one, correct, 1x minus 1. So these examples are going to go with your factoring number 3 worksheet. Well, for factoring number 4 worksheet, it's similar problems, except, and I changed these problems so that way we could hit this type of problem next. Notice that our a value is not 1. So these types of problems involve a values that do not equal a 1, a positive 1. So you're going to draw your x. You're going to move your b value down below. Now here's where it's a little bit different. You need to multiply the a value times the c value. So 5 times 5, and that's going to go on top. Now see, back here on this page, we could have done that. 1 times 12. See, it's 12. Okay, but we didn't need to. All right, let's figure out our two numbers. So negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25, and they add to give you negative 10. Okay, our a value is 5, so 5 goes on top. And then we're going to reduce. So both of these can be reduced. We always want a fraction when we reduce. So 5 over negative 5 reduces to 1 over negative 1. Notice I kept the negative on the bottom. If you put this in your calculator, it's going to give you negative 1. Okay? And you might have a tendency to do that. So we want to keep that negative on the bottom. Okay? Same thing on this side. Now, we're ready to write our factors. So this one's going to be 1x minus 1. And this factor is also 1x minus 1. Now, since the a value canceled in both of them, okay, we don't want to lose it completely, so that a value needs to go out front. If you cancel it in both fractions to a 1, then it needs to go out front. All right, let's take a look at this example. So I changed the problem, so our a value would not be equal to 1. The 4 goes on the bottom. Remember, we multiply the 3 times the negative 20 to get our top number. And so two numbers, 10 and negative 6. Multiply, yes. Add, yes. What number goes on top? Good, the 3. Some students, they get in a habit of always putting a 1. It has to be the a value that goes on top. Can't reduce. We can reduce. Remember to keep the negative in the denominator. All right, we're ready to write our factors. So this one's going to be 3x plus 10. And it's plus because the 10 is positive. 1x minus 2. Now, we keep it minus because the 2 is negative. Now, we did not cancel the 3 in both fractions. We got the 3 here, so we're good. And that should help you with factoring number 4. Factoring number 5 is a mixture of all the different types that we've studied. Thank you.